Pacific One News, the news web leader, your exposure to the world.
Union Sports Minister Anurag Thakur invited protesting wrestlers to discuss their concerns. NDRF personnel traumatized after what they saw in Odisha train crash. India-US strategic trade dialogue to build on ICET initiative. Dhankad retorts on Rahul Gandhi's rear-view mirror jibe. Hi, this is Khushi Chauhan and you're watching Pacific One News, the news web leader, your exposure to the world. Union Sports Minister Anurag Thakur on Wednesday invited India's top wrestlers who have been protesting against WFI chief and BJP MP Brij Bhushan Sharan Singh over sexual harassment charges to discuss their concerns. This came just days after the grapplers met Union Home Minister Amit Shah to discuss the same issue, but saw a no deal. The government is willing to have a discussion with the wrestlers on their issues. I have once again invited the wrestlers for the same, Anurag Thakur wrote on Twitter at midnight. On Saturday late at night, the wrestlers met Amit Shah at his residence to talk about their demands. However, during an interview, Bajrang Punia said that they are not happy with the government's response and asserted that the wrestlers will not back down assurances of action. Punia also said that although the wrestlers were told by the government not to reveal about their meeting with Shah, they still leaked it to the media. The National Disaster Response Force teams engaged in the rescue operations in the triple train crash in Odisha's Balasore district were traumatized, hallucinating and even lost their appetite after what they saw at the accident spot in one of the worst railway disasters in the country in 3 decades. Sharing the plight of the rescuers and the impact of the incident on their mental health, NDRF Director General Atul Karwal described how one of the rescuers hallucinated that he was seeing blood while another lost his appetite as they witnessed several deaths and victims suffering from excruciating pain. I recently met the rescuers engaged in the rescue operation in the Balasore train accident. Someone told me he hallucinated that he was seeing blood every time when he saw water. Another personnel said he lost the urge to eat after this rescue operation, Karwal said. The first ever meeting of the India-US strategic trade dialogue took place in Washington, D.C., marking a significant milestone in the bilateral relationship between the two nations. The dialogue aimed to propel strategic technology and trade collaborations convergent under the India-US Initiative on Critical and Emerging Technologies, led by Foreign Secretary Vinay Mohan Kwatra. The Indian delegation actively participated in the dialogue. The US delegation was co-led by Ellen Estevez, Under Secretary for Industry and Security in the US Department of Commerce, and Ambassador Victoria Nuland, Under Secretary of State for Political Affairs in the US Department of State. Nuland thanked Quatra for the Indian delegation for a very productive first US-India strategic trade dialogue and said the two sides will grow our economies and create jobs through increased bilateral trade and better high-tech collaboration. In an apparent swipe at former Congress chief Rahul Gandhi over his remarks made in the United States, Vice President Jagdeep Dhankad, one should look in the rear-view mirror to notice those out to taint, tarnish and destroy the country's institutions. He said one has to look in the rear-view mirror and then those who are not well disposed towards the nation. Those who are out to taint, tarnish and destroy our institutions. We come to notice them. You look in the rear mirror only to avoid someone who is determined to create an accident, the Vice President said. Dhankad remarks came days after Rahul Gandhi addressing the Indian diaspora in the US at an event, charged that the BJP and the RSS are incapable of looking at the future and Prime Minister Narendra Modi is trying to drive the Indian car by only looking in the rear view mirror, which will lead to one accident after another. Speculations are rife on former Rajasthan Deputy Chief Minister Sachin Pilot's move. He is waiting for a definitive response from the party high command as reports say he is firm on his demands, which includes action against graft during the previous Vasundhara Raje government. As per some reports, Pilot may announce floating a new party, while sources reported that he maintained his focus only on the fulfillment of his demands. Pilot has been demanding action against graft by the previous government and the cases of the recruitment examination paper leaks. The power tussle between Pilot and Gehlot since the Congress-formed government in Rajasthan in 2018 has stretched throughout the 5-year term, with the state due to undergo polls later this year. But the infighting has escalated as Pilot went on a day-long fast in April this year, defying warnings from the party against the Gehlot government's inaction to probe the graft charges. The meeting Chief Minister Ashok Gehlot and Pilot had with party chief Mallikarjun Kharge and Rahul Gandhi last week did not result in any resolution of core issues between the two Rajasthan bigwigs. Now it's time for a short break. We'll be back soon.
Pacific One News, the news web leader, your exposure to the world.
The political situation was all right.
हर कीमत पर भारत की एकता और अखंडता की रक्षा की जाएगी.
Who? What? When? Why? Your curiosity is our priority. Who trumped the political tussle? Who showed their power muscle?
अच्छा नहीं लगा, मैंने उसको रद्द कर दिया.
Scaling new peaks in science and tech.
Stay separated.
Are they keeping the global warming in check? From foreign policies to international disputes, we keep an eye on India's rise to superpower. We bring you news as is. No opinions, no agenda, no masala. Keep calm and access top stories right in your palm. We bring you news that you can use.
हालात को देखते हुए देश में ये लॉकडाउन 21 दिन का होगा.
Cruising through the alleys, towns and metros. Every moment of importance, from geopolitical moves to hyper-local news. We bring you what's happening in India. New outlook, new thoughts, news with the views. Pacific One News, the news web leader, your exposure to the world.
So we are back after a break. Now moving ahead. In a suspected case of rape cum murder, the naked body of a 21-year-old woman was found in a hostel of South Mumbai, police sources said. The victim was a student of a prominent college in Bandra and she was staying on the 4th floor of the Savitribai Phule Girls Hostel on Marine Divine. Following an alert around 4 p.m., a team from the Marine Divine police station along with senior officers rushed to the spot. The girl, hailing from Akola, was preparing to go to her home in a couple of days. According to the other inmates, as per preliminary information, the security guard of the hostel, identified as Prakash Kanodia, is reportedly missing. The police have not yet officially commented whether the incident is a murder or suicide or involving any kind of assault. The divisional DCP, the crime branch and local police special team are handling the investigations. The United States said it was not certain who was to blame for a burst dam in Ukraine, but it would not make sense for Ukraine to have done this to its own people and territory, as Kyiv and Moscow blamed each other for the disaster. The 15-member UN Security Council met at the request of both Russia and Ukraine after a torrent of water burst through a massive dam on the Dnipro River that separates the opposing forces in southern Ukraine. When asked if the United States knew who was responsible, Deputy US Ambassador to the United Nations Robert Wood told reporters ahead of the council meeting, "We are not certain at all. We hope to have more information in the coming days. But I mean, come on, why would Ukraine do this to its own territory and people? Flood its own land, force tens of thousands of people to leave their homes. It doesn't make sense," Wood said. Delhi is predicted to record a gradual rise in maximum temperatures, but a heat wave is unlikely in 4 to 5 days. According to India Meteorological Department, the capital's primary weather station, Safdarjung Observatory, recorded a minimum temperature of 25.2 degrees Celsius on Wednesday, 2 notches below normal. The maximum temperature is predicted to settle around 39 degrees Celsius. June started on a cooler note in Delhi with back-to-back western disturbances, resulting in intermittent rains. The maximum temperature has remained well below the 40-degree mark this month so far. According to the IMD, the Safdarjung Observatory has not recorded a heat wave this year So, this has happened for the first time since 2014. Meteorologists attributed the excess rainfall and below normal temperatures this pre-monsoon season to higher than usual western disturbances, weather systems that originate in the Mediterranean region and bring unseasonal rainfall to northwest India. However, this doesn't mean that there will be no heat waves going ahead. Temperatures over many parts of the country, including the national capital, are likely to remain above normal for a longer than usual period. Industrial corridors set up in Uttar Pradesh and Tamil Nadu told Germany that the country's defense industry can participate in supply chains of the German defense industry and add value to the ecosystem, besides contributing to supply chain resilience. In a statement after a bilateral meeting between Defense Minister Rajnath Singh and his German counterpart, Boris Pistorius, the Ministry of Defense said in a statement that two reviewed the ongoing bilateral defense cooperation activities and explored ways to enhance collaboration, particularly defense industrial partnership. Pistorius, who is on a 4-day visit to India, the first for a German defense minister since 2015, separately told the German media that German industry is at a good place on a possible deal of about 6 submarines with India. The procedure is not finished yet, but I think the German industry is at a good place in that race, he said. Earlier, Pistorius had told that Germany is keen on a potential cooperation with India on submarine technology from ThyssenKrupp Marine Systems. In a bid to make Uttar Pradesh a leading state in the field of milk development and milk production, the state government has launched the Nand Baba Milk Mission scheme at a cost of 1,000 crore rupees. The Nand Baba Milk Mission scheme has been implemented to provide milk producers the facility of selling their milk at a reasonable price in villages through dairy cooperative societies. Cabinet Minister Livestock and Dairy Development Department Dharampal Singh said the department was making constant efforts to ensure the development of the rural economy in the state, to provide remunerative prices to the farmers for their milk and to strengthen the agro-based infrastructure under the mission. It is proposed to form dairy farmer producer organization in order to facilitate sale of milk in producers' villages itself, he said. In the financial year 2023 to 24, there is a plan to set up 5 dairy FPOs in as many districts of the state as a pilot project, in which women will also play a major role, he said. Besides the opening of office of the Nand Baba Milk Mission at Kisan Gomti Nagar, a dairy development portal and logo of Nand Baba Mission has also been unveiled. Now it's time for a short break. We'll be back soon.
Pacific One News, the news web leader, your exposure to the world.
The political situation was all right.
हर कीमत पर भारत की एकता अखंडता की रक्षा की जाएगी.
Who? What? When? Why? Your curiosity is our priority. Who trumped the political tussle? Who showed their power muscle? Scaling new peaks in science and tech. Are they keeping the global warming in check? From foreign policies to international disputes, we keep an eye on India's rise to superpower. We bring you news as is. No opinions, no agenda, no masala. Keep calm and access top stories right in your palm. We bring you news that you can
ये
use.
हालात को देखते हुए देश में ये लॉकडाउन 21 दिन का होगा.
Cruising through the alleys, towns and metros. Every moment of importance, from geopolitical moves to hyper-local news. We bring you what's happening in India. New outlook, new thoughts, news with the views. Pacific One News, the news web leader, your exposure to the world.
So we are back again, now moving ahead. Apart from early morning media commitments like the one at 9:15 am London time at the Oval, the other thing that Rohit Sharma loves to hate is the word talented. It was used liberally to describe his game in his formative years. I hate that word because it means you are just gifted and don't have to work for things, he had said in 2018. Rohit was generously gifted in terms of picking length early. Hence, at times in the sporadic appearances he made in Test cricket, his dismissals gave the impression that he didn't romance the grind of Test cricket enough. Caught mid-on, caught mid-off, caught deep cover, caught deep mid-wicket after glorious 20s and 30s. It added to the fans' frustrations and helped as Rohit prepares to lead India in the WTC final in what will be his 50th Test. It was curious to hear him mention the word grind to derive success in England. England in general is pretty challenging conditions for batters, but as long as you are prepared to have a good grind, you can have success, he told the broadcasters during an event. His critics sharpened their knives. Bharatiya Kisan Union leader Rakesh Tikait insisted that they have not withdrawn their support to the wrestlers and they have postponed the June 9 demonstration against WFI chief Brijbhushan Sharan Singh only on the request of grapplers. It was reported that since farmer leaders are unhappy with the wrestlers for keeping them in dark about their meeting with Union Home Minister Amit Shah, they have decided to withdraw their support to the wrestlers. Olympic medalist Bajrang Punia and Sakshi Malik had met Shah on Saturday night to apprise him of their demands. The farmer leader, however, clarified that they are still supporting the wrestlers. Our June 9 demonstration in Delhi remains postponed at the moment. We will wait for the outcome of meeting between government officials and protesting wrestlers. We are in support of the wrestlers and will continue with our support to them, Tikait told. Actor Lynn Lashram is worried about violence erupting in her home state, Manipur, and is engulfed with a feeling of helplessness sitting in Mumbai. She says people are struggling to get access to basic necessities, including water, and goes on to question the silence in Bollywood around the issue. For me and for other Manipuris who have come out of the state, we are all feeling helplessness. We cannot do anything apart from praying and hoping for peace to prevail quickly. But it's a very unfortunate situation, Lashram says, adding, I spoke to my mother when the crisis was at its peak and she told me that she had not bathed for 4 days because the water supply was cut off. So people in the society are struggling for basic necessities such as food, petrol and water. At least 98 people have died and nearly 40,000 were displaced in clashes between the Meiteis and Kukis community in the state. Actor Paras Kalnawat's comment that 80% of the cast of Anupama would want to exit if given an opportunity stirred a debate with several fellow actors from the TV show coming out and defending the makers and sharing that there is nothing toxic about the environment on set, as Paras claimed. After Nidhi Shah and Ashish Mehrotra, now actor Muskan Bamne has come forward in support of the show. There's nothing problematic with the environment of the show. It's all good and in fact, I really enjoy working there, says Muskan. Further stating there has never been an issue with payments etc. and we always get our checks on time and there is nothing for us to worry with that aspect either. Referring to the claims made by Paras and his comments against the show and its environment, Muskan says those issues started when Paras breached the show's contract to sign another reality. She elaborates there isn't any issue with the makers as such, but some time back, Paras had signed dance reality show Jhalak Dikhla Ja and abruptly quit Anupama in the middle. According to me, it was all sorted. So I don't know why he is saying all these things that he is saying now. That's all for now. Stay tuned for more updates.
Pacific One News, the news web leader, your exposure to the world.